Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about the strategies for community engagement and awareness campaigns for environmental education and sustainability. Now, till now, you've understood what is environment, the various issues, the challenges about the ecosystem, biodiversity and its conservations, the sustainability developmental goals, and the sustainable practices that are involved. So the whole point is, why do we need to study all this? What is the need of the hour? What is sustainability? You must have read about sustainability, that this is how we can embrace the nature and make the environment more sustainable, make sustainability as a lifestyle. So why is it important? So what do we need to do? We need to recycle and save the resources that are available on this planet. So for this, what should we do? First, we should reuse, then recycle and reduce. Now, reuse whatever the resources that we have, any kind of clothing or anything, any kind of thing that can be reused should be reused. Then we should recycle. Recycle certain things, recycling of paper and recycling of various materials to again save the resources. And last, reduce the wastage of water, wastage of power and electricity, and many other resources. Now, as we talk of reuse, recycle, and reduce, bringing these three things into practice requires various strategies. Now, what are the strategies we'll be talking about the strategies like identifying community needs and interests, collaborative planning, educational workshops and seminars, volunteer programs and initiatives, local partnerships and networks, use of technology and social media. Now, we'll be dealing with each of these in detail. Now, first is identifying the community needs and interests. Now, this is the first point that we need to cater, that the community needs and interests must be first identified. Now, this can be identified only when we can understand this how through conducting surveys and focus groups. Now, understanding the specific concerns and priorities of the community. Every community has certain priorities, certain communities, certain concerns, and certain priorities which need to be identified. Now, how can we identify them? The first is conducting surveys and focus groups. Now, we can gather the data through structured surveys and discussions, which helps us in understanding the priorities of the communities. The surveys can be distributed online or in person to capture a wide range of opinions, right? And focus group allow for in-depth discussions. The next method is hosting community meetings. So we can directly interact with the community members, which helps us in getting better insight about what are the concerns and interests of that particular community. Regular meetings can help creating space for open dialogues and so that all the community members can openly voice their opinions. The third strategy that we can say is that engaging with local leaders and organizations. Now, in any community, the local leaders and organizations will definitely help in partnering with will help to reach out to the masses and reach out to the government and help in developing certain ways and action plans. Now, the community leaders, religious groups, and local NGOs can offer valuable perspectives and help mobilizing the community members. Now we talk of the situation. Now, suppose in a coastal town, an environmental organization conducted a series of surveys and focus groups to understand the community's concern about marine pollution. Now, they discovered that the local fishermen were particularly worried about declining fish populations due to plastic waste. This insight helped shape a targeted campaign addressing marine pollution. Now, for example, we've taken a situation that in a particular community, the local fishermen were worried about the declining fish population due to the plastic waste being discharged in that marine area. So and certain environmental organizations conducted surveys and focus groups. Basically, they understood about the community's concerns, and then accordingly, they could target a campaign to overcome this marine pollution problem. Now, another example, we can talk about the Great Barrier Reef and the Sundarban mangrove forest. Now, the devastating impacts of the climate change on the world's largest coral ecosystem, called the Great Barrier Reef, came under the spotlight of global media following the consecutive months-long marine heat waves in 2015, 2016, and 16-17 that wiped out nearly 50% of the reef. Indian coral reefs have experienced similar widespread bleaching events in recent decades, but these have largely gone unnoticed in the Indian and global public discourse. Now, another critical coastal threat was that of the Sundarbans, which is the largest mangrove forest on the planet. Mangroves are tropical plants that grow at the land-sea boundary. The mangroves of Sundarbans also act as a primary line of defense against tropical storms and floods. So, what are these mangrove forests? First, we talked about the coral reefs where they were under threat, and may a lot of coral reef have been depleted. Similarly, in Sundarban forest, which is in India, now here the Sundarbans, they act as line of defense against tropical storms and floods. Now, if these forests are depleted, then we are directly getting exposed to such climatic conditions. Now, the increasing temperatures, sea level rise, coastal flooding, and increasingly frequent cyclonic storms due to climate change pose a major threat to this crucial ecosystem. While mangroves are resilient to seawater to some extent, seawater is now intruding for longer durations and encroaching into areas that it did not earlier reach. Excess salinity levels in the soil can hinder plant growth and damage the ecosystem, and in turn adversely impact the biodiversity in the region. Now, the next strategy is collaborative planning. Now, once you've understood the community needs, their concerns, what are the requirements, now we need to collaboratively plan. Now, the collaboratively plan must have inclusive decision making. So, the first step is inclusive decision making, where every member's voice is considered, and this can be achieved through public consultations, advisory committees, and participatory planning workshops. And next, we can form community advisory boards. Now, these community advisory boards help bridge the gap between the community and the project planners. There's a community, there are certain concerns, and there are project planning, they are in the planning stage. So there is a gap. So this gap needs to be built by the community advisory boards. Now we have third, the regular feedbacks. Now, feedbacks are very important for any kind of system. The feedback system helps in refining the initiatives based on the community input. Now, the surveys, suggestion box, follow-up meetings, all this can help in following up the concerns. Now, again, we have a situation like in a suburban neighborhood facing frequent flooding. A community group formed an advisory board consisting of local residents, the environmental scientists, and the city planners. So together, they developed a flood management plan that included the creation of rain gardens and improved the drainage system, which were both effective and supported by the community. So the whole point is that by creating such advisory boards, which consists of not only the local residents, but the scientists, environmental scientists, and the city planners. So all of them in working in collaboration is very important. Now, example, we can take that of Kerala floods, which has become a trend within the past 2-3 years now. Every year there are Kerala floods. So similarly, a lot of action at the local level have been taken place. Now, next is educational workshops and seminars. This is a very important thing, like through workshops and seminars and organizing such educational implements help in providing awareness and practical knowledge. Now, on what topics? We can take topics of local environmental issues. Now, focusing on issues relevant to the community ensures the content is pertinent and engaging. Workshops can cover topics such as local wildlife, water conservation, and sustainable farming practices. And again, apart from the topics, we can organize hands-on activities and demonstration. Now, these interactive elements make the learning more engaging, and practical activities like nature walks, recycling workshops can provide hands-on experiences. Third, very important, arranging and organizing expert speakers and community leaders. Now, if we invite knowledgeable speakers, it adds credibility and depth to the information presented. Experts from universities, government agencies, and environmental organizations can offer valuable insights and answers questions. Now, for example, I can talk about the Save Soil mission that was arranged by Sadhguru or Isha Foundation. Now, this Save Soil was a global movement to address the soil crisis, uniting people across the globe to improve what? The soil health. Secondly, is to support the leaders of all the nations in actioning the policies, the various policies that have been created towards increasing the organic matter in the agricultural soil. Now, for example, if we have a situation, a rural community concerned about pesticide use held workshops on organic farming techniques. Expert demonstrated methods for natural pest control and soil health improvement. As a result, several local farmers adopted organic practices, leading to a decrease in the pesticide issue and a healthier crop yield. Now, next strategy is volunteer programs and initiatives. This is again important that we are encouraging the participation of the community through volunteer opportunities, which fosters a sense of ownership and involvement. These volunteer programs can include organizing cleanup drives. Now, community cleanup events can visibly improve the environment and foster a sense of accomplishment. These events target local parks, beaches, and waterways. Now, for example, I would like to mention here many NGOs like Shuddhi, Environmentalist Foundation of India, and other local groups like this Ocean Cleanup in partnership with Bharat Clean Rivers Foundation. They campaign to tackle the plastic pollution in ocean, especially beginning from the Mumbai area, the beaches in the Mumbai. So they organized a cleanup drive of the Mumbai beaches. Now, tree planting events is another way. Now, planting trees helps combat deforestation and involves the community in a tangible conservation effort. Tree planting drives can also include educational components about the benefits of the tree. So we can organize plantation drives where we can make the aware about the benefits of the tree. Now, example, a huge plantation drive was organized by the Madhya Pradesh government in the past and this year as well. Another plantation drive by Sadhguru named the Kaveri Calling. Now, this campaign was to initiate the revitalization of the Kaveri River basin, addressing the water crisis as well as the farmer requirements in the Kaveri basin. So the next is the projects by the citizens. Now, engaging citizens in scientific research empowers them with knowledge and a sense of contribution. Projects can include wildlife monitoring, water quality testing, and climate data collection. Now, again, here I would like to mention the Safe Soil initiative by the Sadhguru was again one of the initiatives taken as a community member. Here I would like to mention another situation. A city park suffering from litter and neglect saw a transformation after a volunteer program was initiated. Monthly cleanup drives coupled with environmental education sessions for volunteers significantly improved the park's condition and increased community pride in the area. So cleanup drives were set up. Now, local partnerships and networks. Now, building local partnerships with various stakeholders can enhance community initiatives and leverage shared resources. Key partnership strategies include collaborating with schools and businesses, partnering with educational institutions and businesses can expand resources and influence. Schools can integrate environmental education into their curriculum, and the businesses can sponsor events or provide in-kind support. Now, next is engaging the local government. This is again very important because without the support of the government and the local leaders, it's very difficult. So the local government can offer funding, policy support, and access to the public spaces. Then third is partnering with non-profit and environmental groups. Collaborating with specialized organizations can bring in expertise and additional resources. Non-profits can offer technical support, training, and access to broader networks. Now, there are various groups which are active and functioning and working for sustainability, and they talk about sustainability, bringing sustainability into your lifestyle, right? Now, here there are certain examples. Over the 20th century, the greenhouse gas emissions have increased largely, and they have caused deforestation, mineral exploitation, industrialization, and urbanization. As a result, the climate change is one of the major concerns that the world is facing today. The consequences of climate change are unevenly distributed across geographical, economic, and social boundaries. While developed nations are better equipped to mitigate and adapt to the consequences of climate change due to their financial and infrastructural conditions, developing nations are more vulnerable to its adverse effects. One key element to ensure sustainability of climate change interventions are partnerships that involve both public and private sectors towards a act towards a common goal. In technical terms, this collaboration is called the public-private partnership. The importance of partnership is also reflected in Goal 17 of the United Nations SDGs, which focuses on strengthening the means of implementation and revitalization the partnership for sustainable development. Now, there are certain examples like partnering for green growth and the global goals P4G to 2030. This global initiative is seeking solutions for climate action and green economic growth through PPPs, that is public-private partnerships, and aims to develop sustainable strategies for the implementation of the sustainable development goals and the Paris Agreement. Again, another example from India is if we talk of Mahindra Group, they have made public commitments on net zero energy productivity, water and waste, and is investing significantly in building a green business portfolio across electric vehicles, renewable energy, green buildings, logistics, and hospitality sector. Use of technology and social media. This is the last strategy. Now, leveraging digital tools is very important in this today's digital age world. Making use of technology and social media is the best tool that we can use. Now, first is engaging social media campaigns. Social media can effectively raise awareness and engage a broad audience. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter can be used to share information, promote events, and highlight success stories. Now, here, what I would like to mention, like there are various active groups that are holding social media campaigns, small groups who are talking about sustainability, and even in the they are working very nicely, and they are like, for example, they have explained in certain groups, they are explaining about the composting, use of bioenzymes. Now, things like this, how we can incorporate all these into our lifestyles. Develop mobile apps for community engagement. Apps can provide tools for participation and information sharing. Features can include event calendars, volunteer signups, and educational resources. Online platforms for virtual meetings and education. Online platforms make it easier to reach and educate the wider audience. Webinars, virtual workshops, online discussion forums, all this can facilitate learning and collaboration. Again, a solution situation. A grassroots organization used social media to raise awareness about a threatened local forest. They created an engaging content, including videos and infographics, and launched a hashtag campaign that went viral. This increased the public pressure and led to the forest being granted a protected status. So that strong and powerful is the social media nowadays. Now, again, if we talk of Bangalore water scarcity awareness by local bodies, now, this has been again promoted by the social media a lot in various reels in Instagram and various other social media platforms, that how Bangalore is facing the water scarcity and about its awareness by the local bodies. Now, coming to the end of this presentation, I would leave with this note to you that did you know that Bhutan is the only carbon negative country? Can you find out why? This is because it has negative emissions. Now, what we mean by that? It absorbs more carbon than it produces. Bhutan has achieved this through a system of initiatives from aggressive tree planting to strong conservation efforts to charging tourists a sustainable development fee. See, so they are developing various strategies that is the way that they have been able to make Bhutan the carbon negative country. We all need to make certain efforts along these lines, and we should learn from such countries like this. And I would request you to read more on this. So what we can do, we should use more renewable sources like wind energy, solar energy, hydroelectric power. We are slowly and steadily shifting towards these powers only, but there's a still long way to go. So here I will end my presentation, and any kind of doubt, you can post in the comments. Thank you.